Hello and welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we're bringing you A Link to the Past All Dungeons Restricted Major Glitches Tournament match. It is Group D, Steven, also known as Skriva, versus AceZer0. And I am joined today on commentary by Apathy Duck and Tracy M. And how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I'm
good too.
I'm going to set them off and we should be starting shortly. So thank you very much.
All right. So as we said, this is another race in the AD tournament that we have going. This is 1 second. Yeah. Okay. So this is Group D. This is it looks like the first match for AceZer0 and the second match for Steven. Steven is 0-1 right now. He's the 2 seed in this bracket. His PB is like I missed it. It's like a 115, and then he doesn't have his splits up. And then Ace actually PB'd yesterday of a 117. So this should be a fairly tight match. That's a 2 versus 3 seed. So we should be getting going here shortly. I think we're kicking it off right now. Yeah, here we go.
There it goes.
So again, for those of you who haven't seen one of these before, we'll kind of like our standard little spiel here. So this is a speed run of the vanilla A Link to the Past game. It's the restricted major dungeons kind of like rule set. Link to the Past, if you've ever seen any of it, is just an incredibly broken game. If we allowed all the glitches, if it was just like no major glitches or major glitches, the game gets pretty broken pretty quickly. So we have, over the years, we kind of like split it up into 3 different segments. We have like no major glitches, we have restricted major glitches, and we have like the unrestricted category. Everything's allowed. The whole point of the restricted major glitches rule set is to allow you to like do some more interesting routing, allow you to use some of the glitches without completely destroying the game. We still want you to sort of like play through the dungeons, still have like the same type of execution you'd see in like an RMG speedrun, but allow you to kind of like break the overworld, do some stuff in dungeons. So it makes it for very interesting. It shortens the category by about like something around like 13 minutes now, the difference between the 2 world records. So it speeds everything up a bit. Unfortunately, the first couple segments, as always, are pretty standard. So there's not too much going on. Just have to go through escape, have to go to Eastern, get the boots. Once we get the boots, we're going to start opening it up a little bit. We're going to end up going straight to pod after Eastern.
But yeah, this run in particular, I'm pretty new to this run, but I've really enjoyed learning about it. I think it's a really nice blend of actually playing the game, because as you said, I mean, I think if you can do just anything, you can finish the game in just a few minutes. So, but you still have to play the game, but you still get to see all these really neat glitches and see the runners perform them, and they're not easy. So it'd be fun to watch this.
Yeah, even in this rule set, there is an any percent in this rule set, which is approximately like 26 minutes, somewhere along there. Pincus has the world record in it. So like on top of it just being these glitches, we also require you to beat every dungeon in the game. And that's mostly just because that's a fairly common goal that we have for these glitch categories. There's a couple of major glitch categories that also have the same goal. So there's like the rule set and the goal, and like the reason again for that is to kind of like flesh out the run more to like you having to do everything you would have to do in RMG, and it's only accomplished by rule. We could beat the game, just get to the Triforce with this rule set a lot faster if we wanted to.
But yeah, and of course, like you said, at the beginning of the game, pretty much the same. We pick up the boomerang, gonna wait to pick up the lamp. I really like how the game tries to just says, you have to have this lamp. Gotta have it, because we're gonna pick it up here in Zelda Cell instead of picking it up at the very first chest. That because it's a little bit quicker. You're right there on top of her.
Yeah, Steven going with the yieldy 2-pot method, probably because of tournament race. Some people have been known to die to ball and chain in a tournament race, so I can certainly respect the decision. I really do not have much room to criticize that choice.
Do you speak from experience?
Yes. I might have died to ball and chain and reset in one of my matches, and then I PB'd. Of course, I still had for the tournament. I still got the reset time in there, but the in-game time was a PB, so it was nice. A little bit of a joke that's going around.
All right, but yeah, so still not a whole lot different here.
Yeah, like I said, it's pretty straightforward. You're not, nothing is really going to cause you to lose a race or lose a PB in here besides dying. So again, the two pot makes sense from that from that perspective. It is also interesting to see, Steven does have the the faster time here by a little over, it's like a little over a minute. So it makes sense for him to play safe. This run has a lot of variance in it with, like, you can soft lock, you can die like normal. Some of the dungeons are harder, some of them are easier because we completely changed the routing. So if you think you have the advantage, trying to play a little bit safer definitely makes a lot of sense. Just try to get the win and not worry about getting like close to a PV.
Yeah, right now we see the runners pretty close to each other as they enter the Dark Cross area.
Yeah, we really won't be seeing too much differentiating between these guys until really the pod segment. Pod segment is going to start to open it up. I think both of them are going to get silver arrows here. We'll talk about it a little bit more when we come up, but that's a really good safety for this category.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see which methods they use to get those silver arrows, and definitely a safety, especially going into the Helmasaur fight. NMG has a lot more energy. The 5-heart Helma with just the fighter sword, not the easiest fight in the world.
Energy?
Basically, no safeties.
It's we did SM earlier. This is their hearts.
Did I say it?
you said
Oh my
energy.
god, I didn't even catch it. Hearts, energy tanks from the past. Then
I've made the same mistake going the other way, so I won't worry about it.
It's fair.
So one of the other things that's slightly different than like the no major glitches run is we do allow save and quit in this, because but again, there's a lot of soft locks. Bad things can certainly happen when you do some of these major glitches, and some of them are kind of like one-way streets. So in any major glitch category, save and quit is allowed. And then we can also, just because we allow it for those reasons, we can also just abuse it a little bit to go faster. So we're going to be saving and quitting here to go to Eastern. It's actually faster than walking the normal way. It looks like, so this is a little interesting because of generally if you weren't getting silvers, you would want to delay picking up that sand cart because we want the free refill before pod. If you are getting silvers, then what ends up happening is you save and quit after the silvers anyways, and that puts you back on the mountain, but you don't have full heart, so it doesn't matter when you get it. So generally, if you're going to pick up those silvers, it makes a little bit more sense to go ahead and pick it up for Eastern too. Time-wise, it doesn't really matter, and it just, Eastern's not the hardest, but things can go wrong. And we're seeing a little difference here. Steven is going to be doing what's called the citrus clip. If this is done well, it saves about like 6 to 8 seconds. And he's going to choose to select buffer the diagonal here, which takes a little bit more time than if you just select buffer it, but it does tend to make it a little bit more consistent. Unfortunately, he did fail it here. Let's see if he can still beat. Yeah, they're about going to be entering Eastern about the same time anyways, but that can definitely happen. One of the nice things about this category is like there's really only 4 or 5 glitches that are like really required for you to do the route, and then the rest of them are simple time savers. And like they need to be like big time savers. There's a fairly complicated like set of glitches we do in the Meyer segment. Saves about 40 seconds. That one only saves 6. So you can really just pick and choose. Like you can kind of like salt to taste as how glitchy you want to make your run, with how comfortable you are with some of the glitches, and how fast you can execute them. So that's one of the trickier ones to actually save time with. Steven did lose time there, unfortunately, but it's definitely something that happens,
But yeah, it's nice to see a little bit of differences here. You can see AceZer0 playing it a little bit safer. Maybe just isn't as experienced in the category, so gonna do what he knows how to do. But we'll see some, like you said, there are some that are pretty much required, because like if you're gonna do pod second, you gotta be able to do the glitch to get in there. Otherwise, you might as well just be playing NMG.
Yeah, these guys definitely have really different backgrounds. Steven's been around the community for a long time. He's played the game off and on for a while. Predates me by a good bit. And AceZer0 play. I think it's a little bit more from the randomizer side of things. I know I see him a lot over there. One of the cool things about this tournament is we got like a lot of the guys who were just playing rando. We got them to kind of come over. The leaderboards have almost doubled from this tournament, so that's really great to see. So
Yeah, it's really fun.
yeah, Ace is a good player, just a little bit newer to the actual speedrun things of sides. Doesn't play it nearly as much. So that's really it's interesting that it's this matchup because it's two guys who have like really different backgrounds of this game.
Yeah. So not a whole lot, like you said, not a whole lot different here. We're gonna pick up our bow. Still have to, after getting the big key, gonna head on back.
Yeah, the only other difference in this segment really is all the money that we have that we need for this route or this category is we're going to be getting from chests. We only need 510, and we pick up 300 rupees chests in the Skullwood segments, and that's all we need. So there's no money farming or anything like that you see in some other categories. So it makes it pretty nice that you don't have to worry about anything. So you'll see like normally you'll be like slashing popos to farm them in this segment. Booming them is like slightly, it's like a couple frames faster per popo, but it's free frames, so you might as well.
Yeah, that's a nice bit of extra, so you don't have to worry about these rupee drops. You can just pick it up. I'm gonna pick up a few extra arrows here.
Yeah, we're going straight into pod after this, and you need at least 7 arrows to get through pod, plus the 18 for this Armos. So it makes those arrows are kind of out of the way. I think I'd kind of prefer Ace just to not worry about them. And if he is short, just pick up some in pod that only take about 2 seconds to get. But it's one of those things that like when knowing the precise arrow and bomb routes for these is pretty complicated. The bomb route for this category is very complicated because we need so many bombs, and you cap out at 10, and
Yeah.
we're going to pick up the majority that we need for the route in pod. But it won't be enough for the rest of the run, so you can't like pick up extra in pod for later on. You gotta throw in a couple later on. So when you're new, like tends to be just pick up all the arrows, pick up all the bombs. It's not really gonna kill your run.
Well, and you're talking about those arrows. I mean, we know, we suspect they may both be going for silvers, but if you're not and you want to do that helmet fight, a lot of times you'll just want to go ahead and finish them off with arrows. You can do it with your fighter sword, but all you're gonna have is that fighter sword. So yeah, or I shouldn't say with the hammer and using the fighter sword to help you out. Yeah, because you're not gonna be able because no one wants to do 9 sword spins.
No.
No one wants to do that. So, so your choices are to use arrows or the hammer, and
Well, in any case,
it's a nasty spot.
yeah, they're going to be heading up to. Had a stream issue. Now, anyways, they're going to be heading up to. I'm going to commentate this blind because I know it's about to happen, but they're going to be heading up to Death Mountain right now. Basically, what they're going to be doing is this is a newer version that was found by Yuzu because he finds everything in this game. Um, basically, what they're doing, and I think everyone might be blind here. They're going to use a spin speed, and they're going to clip into a wall, and then we're going to actually dislocate the camera. We're going to put Link off screen. We're going to put him through a transition when we're not supposed to. It's going to dislocate the camera for what our action position is, and we're basically going to be able to hop down and get into the cave behind the rock that we would normally go into to go up to Death Mountain. We're going to get the mirror from the old man, and then after that. I am expecting them both to do another clip when they're on Death Mountain, and then they're going to basically go down again, have a broken camera, put a portal down, and that portal is actually going to be in the castle courtyard. There's a couple ways to get to the actual courtyard, and then they're going to go into the Pyramid Ferry using that warp that they dislocated.
Yeah, pretty cool that you can actually get the silver arrows that early with these little clips, because I mean, it does make things a lot easier. I mean, there's a reason the game does not let you get those silver arrows until after Misery Mire, because just the ease of doing the boss fights is just pretty big at that point.
Okay, apparently we're not broadcasting, so we can stop talking.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Normally I don't come back on stream, but apparently both their streams are down right now. I guess there's been issues with Twitch.
Yeah, I was just gonna open up my Twitch and see if anything is going right now.
Yeah, both our
Yep.
streams are down.
No, everything's down.
Oh, everything? Okay.
Every channel I'm clicking on right now is showing their
DED?
looks like everything's down.
Okay.
Well, do you force local recording?
Well, I thought they did. I thought you did. Yeah, okay. And are we even... Apparently we're still live.
Oh,
There's just a
hi
timer.
everyone.
Yes, there's a lovely timer and 2 dark screens.
Okay. Yeah, the chat's still working.
Yeah, chat's still working.
Yeah, hi chat.
Yeah, hello.
Boy.
Sorry about this. We can blame Twitch this time, though.
Yeah, this is
It's
an
not-
easy Twitch blame because
Yes.
everything I'm clicking on is coming up empty.
Okay, I'm just checking in to see if we're going to continue on. Oh, wait.
Oh,
It
there's
looks like
something.
we're back. Okay, we are back, folks. Okay, thank you.
Oh, we got AceZer0, right? You're gonna get Steven up in a second. All right, so we are entering the pod segment.
Surprise! For Pod.
Well, you know, and we'll have to wait and see his menu whether he has those silver arrows or not. But yeah, I suspect he was going to go for them. One of the neat things about the way this works is you can use that key while we're still kind of in that cave mode, and then leave, and then come back in. And now that door's already going to be open, so it saves picking up 1 key because he's going to go back in and pick up the key again.
Yeah, it just gives us a little routing efficiency here. Okay, I'm coming back up live now. Sorry about that.
Yep. Now we see, while we see the hammer yump, which is used in RMG as well. So.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks like looks like Steven did not actually get the silvers. That's interesting. I know he's been getting the silvers. I didn't know that he decided to drop that for this match. But that would explain why he's slightly ahead now in this pod segment. Although he's not ahead that much. So I wonder if something happened to him. For any of you just joining us, literally all of Twitch just died. So we're trying to catch up to figuring out what exactly happened. But welcome to Pod.
Okay, it does look like Ace does have the silver arrows based on his menu.
Yeah, we're doing a little detective work to figure out what happened here.
Yeah, I'm really sad because I wanted to see that live. I've seen the clips of it, but I haven't actually seen the runs I've been watching have been runners that don't actually pick up silvers. So, of course, I had to go out right as we're doing that strat.
Yeah. In any case, we're gonna be finishing up Pod here. Like I said, yeah. Okay. Kind of. So yeah, Steven obviously skipped the silver arrows. That's what he's got a good chunk of the lead here. The thing with silvers is you are going to lose a lot of time here, but the gap is not nearly as bad as it looks because when Ace is going to be able to claw back a lot of that time in the Ganon fight because he will not have to do the silverless. Silverless isn't Ace obviously knows how to do it. It's not a particularly hard thing to do, but it's just the silvers is just straight up faster, especially if you know how to do it well. So it's always interesting to watch a match where it's a silvers runner versus a non-silvers runner because the match is generally a lot closer. Well, it is a lot closer than it ever looks, no matter what the distance is. So we'll be keeping an eye on their times, kind of as they hit these split times. And unfortunately, Steven decided to run without splits tonight, I guess, for just mental reasons. So it's gonna be a little hard to compare directly, but we'll keep an eye on it. But the main reason to use silvers, and Steven's probably already kicking himself because he's on 4 hearts, is this fight. This fight is very deadly. Helmet does 2 hearts of damage with everything that he does. It's pretty easy to get hit, and yeah, he's going to opt to just use some arrows here. Just a little bit safer than trying to get right in his grill with those hammers. It's a little bit slower, and he will have to pick up those extra arrows. But leaving here with 2 arrows is fine. You can leave here with 0 and you'll be fine for the rest of your routing. So again, just based on the way he's played so far, it makes sense that he's just choosing to play it a little safe here and keep going.
Okay, and we'll see AceZer0 with a much faster fight with the silver arrows. We'll be able to one-shot Helma once he finishes that first part. The first part really isn't any different with the fighter sword versus the master sword, but yeah, that second part just so much faster. And of course,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just saying, it's, you know, we have all of Twitch go down, and Steven is one of the admins in this. I'm another admin in this, and Greenham's another admin, and he's running. So we have no one. We have no one on deck to try to figure the situation out. But I think just because we had the little hiccup, I don't think we're going to be entirely worried about it, especially because it was a global problem. So we're just going to, all these matches just keep going right here. I guess I'm making that executive decision.
Yeah, go for it. Okay, so yeah, see the one shot from AceZer0 finishes up Helma's sword very, very quickly. And we're gonna head on over to the Tower of Hera.
Yeah, and the one like little minor thing, and it's always nice to see these things, is Ace made sure he didn't release that spin before shooting that arrow. It's weird to do because you actually have to like let go of the sword button to menu, and then you have to replash that as it's closing. But it just saves you the source menu. You can just shoot that arrow immediately upon getting out of the menu. So just a nice little minor detail there. I always like to see people paying attention to the detail.
All right, and of course that clip that we saw Steven do into the Tower of Hera, we use that a lot in here to get to places in different ways. So we're gonna see that a few times.
Yeah, I think he did the fast version of it where he just dash buffered through it. There's another version where it's just a spin speed clip. Spin speed is about 2 seconds slower, but we do this clip 3 times. 4 if you're getting silvers. Well, no, sorry, the other one you spin speed through it no matter what. So 3, and like it really. So learning the faster version and getting good at it kind of pays back in multiples because it's not just saving 2 seconds, which is a good chunk of time, but like saving 6 seconds if you can do it correctly 3 times is definitely significant.
And Steven also doing a very nice boomerang strat to get into that coffee break section where you can just sit there and wait out the tiles.
Yeah, it is actually the optimal strat in there, but mostly just from not having to throw the switch. You can throw the switch while you're basically not doing anything, so it removes all that extra time. And then if you can hit the pegs, it does give you the break.
Now, interesting here though, AceZer are going to use the mirror to pick up that key and leave out. Will have noticed that Steven went ahead and grabbed that key with the boomerang. You want to talk about the difference between those 2 strats?
Yeah, it's actually, so again, if you watch the RMG run, we use the mirror in here. The only reason boomerang is faster in here and the mirror is faster in NMG is because we have to mirror to spectacle rock in NMG. And it turns out if you're already on mirror and can save the menu, it's better to use the mirror. If you're not, and you have the menu no matter what, it's better to go to the boomerang. So it's a very minor difference because literally the time difference is only the menuing there. So if you don't want to learn like another set of strats, it's perfectly fine just to use the mirror strats and just do it like NMG, because the difference is literally less than a second.
And AceZer are going to wait out these tiles by just letting him hit his sword rather than doing any kind of coffee break strat, but that'll work out just as well. As Steven going to head into his Moldorm fight, which is a much easier fight in this category than NMG because we have the hammer.
Yeah, there's two reasons we do Hera after pod. One is for the hammer on Moldorm, which means not only is it just easier, it's just a shorter fight and there's no enrage phase, which is very nice. Very cathartic to anyone who's gotten hit off Moldorm during that enrage phase in NMG.
Worst.
Yeah. And the other reason is just the routing we're going to be doing after this. We're going down to Thieves Town through another trick called DMD or Death Mountain Descent. The DMD is one of the major like activators for this route. It's very important. There's really no way around it. But we don't have a glove, so we don't really have like any sort of like natural way to get to the Dark World proper. We can, but the devs kind of gave us this little like tutorial area right here that there's no enemies or anything in here. Really, I'm supposed to be here as a bunny. But we can abuse the fact that the game is even allowing us to go to Dark World and do something called, like I said, this Death Mountain Descent, where we just come down here and then we transition the screen and we get this thing that is affectionately known as the funny auto walk thing, and that puts us just in Dark World proper, and we can go straight to Thieves Town now.
Yeah, and Thieves Town really important, getting those mitts. That will allow us. We want to do it now. There's not a huge difference between Thieves Town. If you know the blind script, you're going to be fine, whether you have whatever sword you have. But whereas the dungeons coming up, you really want to have that tempered sword that we can pick up once we get those mitts. So it's just like an NMG. You want to do Thieves Town as soon as you can to get those mitts, so you can get that nice tempered sword that we'll be finishing the game up with.
Yeah, and we do need we need Master Sword Plus to actually damage Ganon. Tempered turns out to be the quickest. You can't actually. You may be thinking, well, we got silvers. Why didn't we get gold sword? The game actually checks specifically that you have tempered before giving you gold sword, so we're not able to get that there. The Smiths do not. The Smiths will literally give you a sword no matter what you bring them. If you can get to them swordless, they will give you a tempered sword, which is convenient. So we can just completely skip going to the Master Sword pedestal, getting that sword. It's a weaker sword too, so we don't even really want it. And we have other ways of getting to Aga because we're past Aga already, effectively.
Yeah,
so we don't really
will
need
see
Aga.
So you Aga, we need it because it's all dungeons.
Yeah, because we decided it's all dungeons.
Yep,
Yeah.
and we're calling that a dungeon, so it has to be done. But
because it says it in the code. Because
There
we're
you go.
obviously respecting the code so well here.
uh,
Yeah, Steven showing off why we call this the Hellway.
Yep. Unfortunately, not getting the nice pixel where you can run straight through. It's a little RNG dependent, and as well as just trying to set it up properly.
Yeah, I didn't see what RNG. There is an RNG of that first little Patrick Star guy that can just take it away from you, and you can't even go for it. I think he actually got that. I didn't quite see, but if sometimes it just gets taken away from you immediately, and you just have to bail on it right away. But the other major thing in this dungeon is there's this big block in the basement that usually we just pick up to go through, but we still have no glove. Fortunately, the developers, for some reason, gave us another way to get there by killing everyone in that room. If the developers didn't give us the second path, then this route would be, or this category would be much different with the routing. We'd have to go to desert to get the first glove, just to pick up that block. It's very weird because it's like they almost put that there to make sure you had a glove, but then they were like, well, you can go around if you want. So
yeah, very very odd. It's always kind of funny though when you see a randomizer coming into this room without a glove, and they'll try and pick up that block and be like, oh yeah.
see if they learned this category, they'd know what to do.
They would know what to do.
Yeah. There's actually that Steven just showed up there. There's a nice little bomb strat that bombs are really valuable in this run because we not only use them just for like stuff we have to bomb, but they're also used for a lot of clips. We actually missed one during the whole great Twitch outage. We actually, to get into the pod, they did a bomb clip to get in there. We'll see some more of them, so we'll explain those when we get there if you haven't seen them before. But it's just funny, like bombs are so valuable, and we end up just kind of using one to kill a skeleton or Salphos in the basement just because it's so much faster than pretty much anything else we can do there.
Yeah, also got to point out that Thieves Town with just a fighter sword, like the blind fight's not going to be any different, but the one thing that is a little bit different is if you're used to running through everything with the Master Sword and killing them, yeah, that's not quite the case here. So it's still, you've got the sword, so you're going to be able to get through it pretty quickly, but not going to one-shot anything.
Yeah, there's only like one or two enemies you really, because most of the time you're just in a speedrun trying not to kill stuff. There's only one or two things that, because they don't die, you have to worry about it in here. Most of the stuff you're just kind of dashing through anyways, and you just end up on the other side of them, so it's not too big of a deal. But there are a few spots where the fact that the enemy doesn't die, you have to make small adjustments, but it's nothing major.
All right, and Steven finishing up his blind fight very nicely, following the script.
Yeah, so Steven caught it at 2750. We'll see when AceZer catches it. We'll kind of give Ace like a credit of like 40 seconds to it, so we can kind of like figure out where the race actually is. It looks like he's probably closer to probably at least a minute behind here, I would say. So I think Steven does have a true lead here.
It's also easy to forget just how much text there is in the regular vanilla game.
Yeah, it's legit about like 10 minutes. It's a non excuse me, it's a non-trivial portion of the run. It's just these guys.
Okay, as Ace gets into his blind fight.
Yeah, what did I say? 2750 that he caught it.
Okay. There we see Steven getting that 300 rupee, one of those 300 rupees that you talked about earlier.
Yeah, so it's like a minute and a minute like 2 second difference between the two, or 12-second difference between the two. So Steven does have like effective 20-second lead here. If giving AceZer credit for the silvers, but the end, I mean that sounds significant. That's but like the end game, once you start getting the end game, the mire to like Turtle Rock block of this is very difficult. So there's still a lot that can happen.
Yep, and you do see Steven picking up that book. Very important to you remember to pick that up now and not leave it for later, because that's a huge time loss if you forget it. And ironically, we only use it for the Ether tablet.
Yeah, just Ether, and the only reason we use Ether is to open up Mire. So, like, if we could... Mire is one of those things that just refuses to be broken, besides some very, very cheaty stuff, like Exploration Glitch. You pretty much always end up needing Ether. If we can find out some way of getting into Mire with the proper ID, it would save us a good chunk of time, because we wouldn't need the book, we wouldn't need Ether.
And here we go. There's that tempered sword, the 10 rupees that we talked about earlier, the 510 total.
Oh, okay. So yeah, shout out to AceZer to going, because I missed talking about this. The way he's doing this and the way that Steven did too is a newer way of doing this, kind of developed by FSG and Zero Rush. It's actually called Frog Door because there's a door and there's a frog, and we're memers. So, but basically, if you just mirror right, you can go right in the door, and then yeah. So unfortunately, they both didn't do the second part quite correctly. If you push A right when the kind of like wave stops, you can talk to the frog about picking up a rock, and just the efficiency in walking and not having to pick up those rocks, and it makes it end up saving like almost like 40 frames over like the old double warp method. The only downside to it is that there is actually a hard lock potential in it. Which shout outs to Steven for doing it once in a run so we could get a good example for the tutorial.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and head into Skull Woods. Not a whole... It's amazing how little of this dungeon we ever actually see, especially in these runs.
Yeah.
Pick up the big key, go pick up the big chest, and then go to the back of the dungeon. There's so many rooms that you just never see in this area.
Yeah, at Skull Woods, like, until you do, again, like the very major glitches, it tends to be exactly the same. There is technically another way of doing this that we always want to put it in this run because it's just so boring that Skull Woods is the same, but we can't get it to be faster. It's actually called Scudge Woods because a runner named Super Scudge did it in his runs. You can actually get to the back of Skull Woods from the Turtle Rock area. You can do like you wrap the entire world around and you end up right next to Skull Woods. Unfortunately, you would still need to come get the fire rod kind of at this point. So like the routing doesn't quite work out, and it just always ends up being faster just to do the whole thing now, even though it's unglitchy and boring. So, but every couple of years, someone thinks they have a new way of routing it to do it, and we looked at it again recently, and it still ended up being like 20 seconds slower. Because you had to do a bunch of dumb stuff like the mummy statue room, a fighter sword, and everything. It just was not worth it.
Ooh, that sounds horrible. Actually, I should say I've done that before in randomizer. It is horrible. So. Yeah,
I mean, you don't kill anything. It's not the strength of the sword actually that makes that room. It's the size because you want to be able to. Sure. Yeah, normally we're just coming in slashing those berries, and then like we see AceZer doing here, slashing these mummies that they get on the statue. So if you come in here with the fighter sword, it just becomes even worse, and this room's already bad enough. Actually, Tracy, you'll appreciate this. We've generally in the community recently, we've been debating what our worst room in the game is, and that yep. that mummy statue room
definitely has got to be a contender.
it is definitely a contender. I think the consensus is, at least in this category, it is the worst room in the game. Okay, although the chain chomp room also has its fans, but fortunately we don't see the chain chomp room here, yeah. So we don't have to. Yeah.
To be fair, the worst room in the game in Super Metroid, depending on your item set, is not always worst either. So
that is true. Oh, Steven making use of the fact that he did the rest of Skull Woods cleanly to just face tank Mafia there a little bit. Gets
Yeah, because Mothula not a completely broken boss in its own right, since thankfully we don't even worry about this. But the gold sword not actually doing damage to it because the way the spikes work and the fact that the gold sword and the spikes would do the same damage. So the developers just said, hey, let's just not let the Mothula take that damage. So
yeah. If you do have gold sword there, it would be interesting if we could get gold sword from the Pyramid Fairy, because it would make that optimal, and then we'd have to poke Mothula, because the gold sword pokes do actually do damage.
sure, okay.
So it'd make it a even worse fight.
But woe to the person that decided when they played this game casually that they would come back to Mothula when they got stronger stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you can do that. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. Oh no, AceZer unfortunately getting wall mastered.
Oh, that's the worst. But just gonna go
I keep
ahead
calling him
and go back in.
AceZer when there's. Oh, he does have it. Yeah, it's. I don't.
AceZer0.
It's AceZer0. Yeah.
I was wondering about that.
He's got too many letters in a row in his name, and it throws me off.
So unfortunately, taking a death here, but he's getting low on magic. He's low on hearts.
Yeah, taking a death in Skull Woods isn't the worst, especially where he took it. I mean, unfortunately, he already got wall master and has to come back. The problem he's going to need to look for some extra magic here.
Yep, and there are magic pots here, so he can pick those up, but it is definitely slow and not very optimal to have to do that. So it's going to cost him.
No, you don't really want to be on this in this situation, unfortunately.
No, not at all. The only other choice would be to grab the magic pot next to the big key chest, and no one wants to do that.
Yeah, well, yeah, mummies do drop. They do have a bunch of magic in their prize packs too. So a lot of times you'll just see players murder all the mummies and hope to get the full magic.
Okay, so Steven's going to go ahead and get his flippers using this clip here. That's the other part of the money situation that we need. Still need to spend 500 rupees to get those flippers from Zora.
Yeah, this is the bulk of our expenditures in this run. This is kind of like the little main shopping trip we have to do in this run. It's really the only shopping trip we have to do at all that's not really attached to a dungeon. We save and quit to do this, and then save and quit after this. But the way the routing works, this is basically the only time you can do it, because we're going to be doing pretty much the entire south of the world for the dungeons. We're going to do Desert Palace, Mire, Ice Palace, and Ice Palace and Swamp. Sorry. So we need Ether for Mire, and we need the flippers for Swamp Palace. We need to do this now. We couldn't have done it any earlier because we didn't have the book yet. So this is the only time we could have done it, and it's really the only shopping trip that's done at all. There's just a lot of RNG up there with all the dead rocks and everything. And then Desert Palace this whole segment is not that scary when you're new, or even when you're experienced, but it just absolutely kills your pace. There's so much silly stuff that can happen here.
And you'll notice that we are absolutely 100% not going to grab the gloves. That would just be an absolute disaster.
Yeah. Steven here, so there's a couple clips you can do here to kind of get over this big wall. Steven doing the strat that I am going to start calling the plain ham sandwich, because yeah, Green Ham famously hates. No, well, it doesn't have a name because it's just walking around. It's just you're not doing anything. And Green Ham famously hates all the clips there, as do most people. But most people generally suck them up and do at least one of them. Ham famously does not do any of them. So I've started calling it the plain ham sandwich.
I like that.
And I'm really trying to get it to catch on.
Yeah, that little, that's the part where you really see the glitches and shine through as you see that little blinking stage there. But yeah, so I was talking about this earlier. We absolutely skip the gloves here, because if we grab the gloves, it'll overwrite the mids, and that's just basically game over for me.
Well, it's
definitely don't want to do that.
It's not game over as long as you can do the Ice Palace wrap. We actually don't need. The only thing we actually need the mids for, the actual lift 2 in this run, is the.
Ice Palace?
No, is to get the tempered sword. There's the glitch that most people do, or that a lot of people do to get into Ice Palace, is optional. It only saves 6 seconds. So if you don't do the glitch, then yeah, your run would be over. But I mean, it's just if you're all It would take so long to get those gloves. Your run is probably over just because you wasted.
There you go. So I was right, run over. But yeah, no. But yeah, you don't. You went through the trouble to get those mitts, so why even bother? As we see, AceZer0 is getting his flippers.
Literally, the only rock we pick up for the rest of this entire run is the big block before Cold Stare. We just kind of go around all the other rocks. We don't really. Most of them in the overworld. There's only a handful in dungeons. So it's really only the Cold Stare block that's really in our way at this point.
Yeah, and actually, even talking about that, it's interesting that block isn't meant for mitts to be used to pick them up. Because it's kind of a tutorial. But that doesn't. The tutorials. I'm used to a game where like every time you get an item, the game basically teaches you how to use it, and that just isn't quite the case here in Link to the Past.
So Lammo fight is a lot easier here. This is one of the like the brochure things for this category is you don't have to do bow Lammo because you have tempered it.
Fire rod Lammo is so much fun.
Yeah, it's like Lammo can still give you bad RNG, and you can get a 2-cycle here. Because this fight is so straightforward, it feels even worse even just getting a 2-cycle Lammo.
Yeah, for sure.
In this category. And we saw on Ace's screen over there, he did do the bomb clip, so he saved a couple seconds there. But the reason why a lot of runners hate that is like the cues are just absolutely terrible, and there's those bombers that are flying you around that can just absolutely ruin your day. But he did a very nice job of it.
All right, now we're going to get to my favorite part of this run as we enter into Mire and Hera and Swamp and Mire.
Yeah, we kind of see a little world tour here. The Mire dungeon actually wouldn't be all that different than it would normally. But the reason it's going to get wacky here is it turns out that, again, going to left side Swamp to get the big key to come back to get to the hook shot is really, really slow. So we're abusing we didn't really talk about it before because that's when Twitch went out, but the way the game works is whenever you enter a dungeon or a cave, it sets your dungeon ID at that point. So since we entered Mire, we have the Mire dungeon ID, and because all the dungeons are on one giant map, if we can get into another dungeon, we can still use Mire's items in that dungeon. So we're going to use the big key here to get the hook shot. We're going to have to take a little sojourn through Hera to get there. The reason we are doing it in this segment and not in the Hera segment is we need a key to open up a door in Swamp. Mire has a bunch of extra keys because Mire is supposed to be kind of like a big maze, but once you know your way through it, you can skip all that. So Mire's got a bunch of extra keys that we can use. So we're just going to steal one here. That's why Steven there picked up 2 keys in that room. And then we're going to use one of those extra keys in Swamp to open up the small key door, and then we're going to use the big key to get the hook shot and just come back.
Well, and plus the fact that if we were to do this during the Tower of Hera segment, we'd have to have gotten our flippers earlier, and so that would take another bit of rerouting. So just doing it now makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
there's a couple other glitches we could do to do it. The big thing is if we could actually steal the pod key and cave state. The cave state key actually gives you the Tower of Hera big key. Then we could use the small key. So really, the way we would do this in Hera isn't so much like through any of that routing. The way we would do it was finding a way to open up Helma's door to be able to, because we get the hammer and cave state, but like there's really no way to get to like the Helma big key door. So if we can find a glitch that will allow us to do that, we could actually reroute a lot of this. And it's really like this. The route of this category has not changed basically since it was invented, despite all the glitches that we found and everything.
Well, there's at least one minor or one that we're going to see in Ice Palace that wasn't there originally.
But I'm saying like the overall.
We
found a bunch. Like this route, this category keeps changing. But the route, the actual like order of dungeons, basically has not changed since it was first invented.
Yeah,
despite all the stuff we found, it's really resistant to change, and that would be if we could somehow find a way to get to Helma, that would completely change this category, which would be really exciting.
And we
Cough
saw another...
Yuzu.
We just saw another. I don't know if it's a huge advantage. We saw AceZer0 using the silver arrows to take out land molas in a nice one round. I'm not sure that actually saves time compared to the fire rod stat, but it's really neat to see that.
It saves very little because it is a little bit of a faster fight, but you do have the extra menus. So it's pretty close, but the silvers are actually optimal if you can. And then yeah, Steven's showing us our first bomb clip of the run because we didn't see the other one. So we're using that to get into Hera, and then we're going to be using another one here to get into Swamp. This is the most complicated one. There's a bunch of subpixel stuff with this that'll put you on the wrong spot, and then we actually need to buffer twice to get in the right pixel. One frame buffers aren't necessarily difficult, but doing them 2 in a row is just 2 chances to fail. Steven did a very good job there using dash buffers to get out. That was very quick and very nicely done.
And there we go. Get a very weird looking swamp palace, but yeah, this is going to save us a ton of time because get to use that big key from Meyer in order to get the hook shot right here and now, and don't have to, like I said, don't have to do left side swamp, which is everybody's dream. Never want to do that if you can avoid it.
The weird thing is, like, this is kind of like one of the more like iconic dungeons, like kind of like defining of the category. That Hera to swamp clip is really difficult especially for newer runners. That's actually a glitch you do not have to do. It saves a good bit. It's like 40 seconds, so it's a good chunk of time, and you should definitely look at doing it as soon as you can. But if you don't want to do it or you're having trouble with it, you definitely can skip this part and then you would just do swamp normally, and you would do this dungeon fairly normally. So the other major change is because we mirrored, all the pegs are going to go back to normal. So we can't like hit that switch and kind of go up this little route that we would normally do. So we have to kind of take another route over to the back. But again, Meyer's a big maze, so they gave us a bunch of ways to get there. If we go over to the left-hand side, there's no key doors, and we can just go in that way. And that just ends up being the fastest.
Yeah, and of course it means that the spooky glitch setup, assuming they're going to use that, is going to be a little bit different than what you're used to in an NMG setup, because we don't have the flute to set it up either.
Yeah, we end up never getting the flute. The glitches are powerful enough, and we have access to the save and quits because it's major glitches. So the flute really doesn't give us much, so we never pick it up. So we can't use it for the spooky setup. So you'll see Steven, he's going to pick up some extra magic here. I didn't see why he had to do that. He must have made a mistake at some point. But yeah, he's gonna be throwing a block in here. That's gonna set the variable to offset the fire rod to its max. So it's a different place than it's used to. We actually can't hit the first switch, but again, we never hit the switches in this category. So luckily, we don't have to hit the first switch, and there is basically a fire rod dash setup that we have to do in the second room. Basically, we need to hit the anti-fairy far enough away that the splash will be at the right height, but we're so low on the screen, the switch actually isn't loaded, so we have to, and the only way to get up there quickly enough is to do a fire rod dash. So you can see Steven doing it here. The fire rod dash go up, and then the switches are going to get flipped back. That's actually the original spooky. The duck setup came later. So it wasn't too long. It was for like literally like a couple hours, but for a very brief segment of time, that was actually that setup was the NMG way of doing it.
So now into the Vidi fight. Without silvers, pretty similar to what you're going to do in an NMG fight. Just going to take the damage here, finish up with some arrows.
Oh, jeez!
Okay.
Oh,
that part isn't part of the Vidi plan.
Not only did he almost get hit by the eyeball would have killed him because it's 4 hearts of damage. He then, it almost looked like he managed to just completely Highlander the lightning and have it just go right around him, but he did take it to the face. Fortunately, he had enough hearts. So we actually come into Meyer with less hearts than we would in NMG, but because we do that weird loop when we pick up the fairies in the middle, and we do that after we do like the major damage boost, which is the spike key. As long as you aren't taking a bunch of unnecessary damage in Meyer, Meyer's a pretty safe dungeon. Like once you learn how to go through all the rooms, you're really not going to get hit by a lot. The Vidi fight actually becomes safer. You actually go into Vidi with a lot more hearts in this category, even though we came into the dungeon with less. So it's just mostly just because of that nice little fairy refill we get halfway through. So,
and we see the comment in the chat. I lived.
Yeah.
Just trying to scare us, aren't you, Steven?
Yeah. I guess it's no longer the Scrivo safety Vidi. Although Steven did not do the Scrivo safety video, so maybe it still is the Scrivo safety video. I don't know. We'll have to ask him out.
gonna see another clip to get out of this area.
Yeah, again, this is another one that's fairly optional. It only saves 12 seconds, so we're like doing a save and quit. Oh, looks like, yep,
Yeah,
he's
just gonna save
just,
and quit.
yeah.
Well, I mean, he can watch the restream if he wants, so he might see that he's got a bit of a lead and figure let's just do this the safe way and do it. Just go ahead and go into swamp the I guess the normal way.
Yeah, and I think he's just, yeah, like I said, just assigned to play it safe. He sees he's got a lead here. He is gonna have to do another teleport though to get into Turtle Rock. That one's pretty unavoidable. Besides doing some very, very slow stuff. So hopefully hopefully he'll get the teleports back in his fingers in the next couple segments.
Yeah, and so here we see the silver arrows making AceZer0 making very good use of those silvers, and quickly finishes off 80.
Yeah, if you were trying to be 100% optimal with silvers, you would still do the normal spins there, because all that matters is you beat the first cycle. The silvers lag a little bit, plus you just have to route in more arrows at that point. But the fact that it's very minor. It's only gonna be like less than like a second between all that stuff. So if you know, if you have them, there's no reason not to use them. Again, in a tournament setting, just getting through. The dying to Vidi is one of the worst things you could do in this category. It's going to be the major time loss. So
For sure. Now we're back into Swamp Palace. This time we're going to be able to go straight to the back. Try to remember. Do they? Where did you see the diver down here? Right?
Yeah,
one of the new glitches.
Yeah, when Diver Down and Icebreaker came out, we pretty much auto improved them within like 2 days for this rule set, because they were very obviously. Yeah, they were very obviously within the rule set. The only reason it took us that long was simply because like it might be exposing something even more powerful that we haven't thought of yet. So we don't, we're trying not to be too hasty, but they were pretty obvious to be allowed. So it saves. It's basically a little Samari glitch we're going to be seeing here. Allows us to skip the pushing the statue here, and then also skips a cutscene. Saves about like six-ish seconds in this segment, depending on how cleanly you can do it.
Now we see more broken Canis Maria strats here. Canis Maria being a fairly broken item.
Yeah, well, I mean, Canis Maria allows us to do some very, very broken stuff, and it's funny that there's other slightly less broken stuff that we're still discovering how to do it. I'm pretty sure the scan is not actually strictly required for either of those glitches. There is, but the other methods of doing it without Samari are basically like task level only stuff.
Yeah, I've seen the diver done with bombs. I have not seen the icebreaker done with anything but the Canis Maria, so I can't say for sure on the icebreaker. But yeah, it's certainly not as easy to do with bombs.
Yeah, I need to actually look at the bomb setup. And it was coming into Argus. I don't think. Oh no, Steven is going to be attempting the zero cycle here. He's got a good start. Yeah, okay. You can, when you've seen enough, you can kind of tell when it's going to go south. It's a very difficult quick kill. Not only is it mechanically difficult, there's like, you can't. The first time you see it, you just like think like, oh, he's just hitting the hook shot over and over again, and Argus dies. How hard can that be? There is a strategy to where you're pulling the puffs, and I could see there was one on that left side that was about to own him. And unfortunately it did, but it was a very good attempt. It's also one of those things that as long as you're not losing time going for it, you can start attempting it. Steven did finish it off very well there, so very good attempt. And Ace is and he's doing his diver down here. I didn't see. I'll compare sword up times to kind of get a better handle on where the race is. It almost looks. I almost want to say that Ace is maybe caught up just a little bit over since Stevestown. I mean, he did. I didn't see him save him quit. I think he did the teleport out, so he did kind of claw back a handful of seconds there. Fox is telling us he had a good Mire exit.
Oh, there you go. So that's definitely going to save him a bit of time. I'll see what he does in his Argus fight here.
Yeah, Ice Palace is a very short segment, but it is very, very. It's not only just quick to do; it is just one like glitch after another. We're going straight We're gonna have to do this hook shot to climb up to the top. We're gonna do an ice mirror wrap to get into Ice Palace, into a bomb clip, into Icebreaker. So it's very quick. Things just happen, and each one of those, it's very easy for it to just go wrong, and you lose a bunch of time.
Yeah, it's actually pretty amazing when you think about Ice Palace as like if you're playing this game for the first time and trying to make your way through Ice Palace. It's quite the long dungeon, and we're just making it so much shorter here, and even shorter now that we have Icebreaker.
Yeah, I think like the best Ice Palace time in this segment right now is like I think Zelda's got like a 304 or something, or 303. It's very, very fast. So at least on my end, Steven's stream lied a little bit during the ice wrap. He obviously got in here quickly, so he got past the first major hurdle. This Icebreaker, again, you can kind of mess it up a bunch. He got it second try. That's very good.
Now, a question for you. So, if you'd wanted to pick up that big key and get the blue mail, this kind of makes it a little more free. I mean, it's still obviously going to be a time loss to pick that up, but do any of the newer runners do that sort of thing now that we have this nice new trick?
I haven't seen any of the new runners do that. You could pick up that big key right there, and then you can get another small key to go down. It just turns out hitting the switch is faster than picking up those extra keys. That's why we do it that way. The problem with getting blue mail in this category would be like we're almost done. Turtle Rock is pretty safe in this category. We skip most of the hard stuff that most people are scared of. Most of the RMG. You also come into Ice Palace. You're in Ice Palace. You have a bunch of hearts compared to what you would have in NMG. Although
sure.
Cold Stare can still kill you. Plenty of people, including myself, have died of Cold Stare. And then if you're scared of Ganon's Tower, you really don't have a lot of hard stuff, and then you have access to the red mail. And I think the red mail would probably still be faster to get than the blue. I would have to look at that. That's
an
not
interesting question.
It's not a terrible idea, but it comes so late that it's not necessarily that worth. I'd only recommend it if we actually sat down and timed it, and it would be faster than red mail.
Okay.
And like red mail's only like 2 rooms away, and obviously it provides even more protection. Although it almost provides so much protection that it's like pointless. And Steven almost proving your point by almost dying to Cold Stare, having the old Cold Stare.
He's got all this stuff calculated, he's got it all figured out. Just come close to dying, but don't quite get there. And we are going to go to the Turtle Rock segment. This is also one of these. I think it's really cool the way we get into Turtle Rock instead of having to go all the way through the front of the dungeon.
Yeah, I thought you would need the small key too. You just need the big key. As was pointing out, but you do need to pick up the big key. Yeah, I guess that would be a lot quicker than red mail. So that's not a terrible safety actually.
All right, AceZer0 going to go into his Cold Stare fight. Nice sword spin into the corner. Oh, and doesn't let him get away. Very, very nice Cold Stare fight from AceZer0.
Yeah, and I think it looks like Steven is going to be, if you take out the hookshot, he's going to be doing the glitch method to get this ice rod. So we just clip on the wall right here, and we're just going to put down a bomb and blow up the ice rod cave right here off screen. This is a little bit faster than just going straight around and getting it kind of like the quote-unquote NMG way. Steven has a absolute ton of bombs. It is important to make sure you have at least, if you're going to do that, you need a very, very minimum 2 bombs here, because we're going to Turtle Rock next through Laser Bridge, through some cheatery, and just shooting the old man in the face with a bow after him getting the hill.
Nice.
What an ungrateful son of a bitch. Oh my god.
This is going to be another part of the run that looks kind of goofy as we clip over to Turtle Rock, and also another difficult part that you can easily get stuck here.
Yeah, Steven doing a little little bonk set up there. Just put you on the correct pixel so you don't have to worry about getting the line up there. Oh no, that's well.
There you go.
Yeah, you do not want to hit up when you're up there. Otherwise, this happens. This effectively ties this match again. Oh, especially there's the dead priest. Hello, dead priest. Yeah, this. In fact, I would say at this point, Ace now is in the lead because of those silver arrows. So this match has tightened up. Unfortunately, like I said, all that was just one errant input. So it's pretty feels bad. That's unfortunate.
To be fair, they both still have to execute it, so this could be. We'll see how AceZer0 does with it, and we'll see if Steven can get it this time around.
Yeah, I mean, Ace can obviously make the same. If you just push up there, you get stuck, and it's very bad, and there's no way to fix it. It looks like Steven is reporting in. Oh.
Unfortunately, misses it the second time. We'll see what AceZer0 can do here.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. A lot of these glitches and tricks, we're putting ourselves into places the game never intended us to be. We're walking around on cameras that are completely broken, and what we're doing is not intuitive at all. You can't really just, if I told you like how to teleport and like kind of got you up there, you wouldn't really be able to figure out how to get up there without a lot of doing. So all it is just like memorizing a set of unintuitive inputs. And once you have them memorized, you tend to be able to put them in pretty quickly. But like the problem with unintuitive inputs is sometimes you just get up and down, left and right confused. And I think that's what was happening to Steven there. Yeah, it looks should have it here.
Yeah, Ace had it. It looked like he took his time a little bit, AceZer0. Possibly watching Steven fail it a couple times. Yeah, now Steven's got it as well.
Yeah.
And we have this part we get to go straight onto Laser Bridge and have to bomb that spot in order to actually progress. And we're gonna get the big key from the backside.
So Steven was taking took the heart refill the first time there. Again, this is a fairly safe segment as long as you don't get hit shot in the face with that laser right there. Nothing's really going to hurt you. This dungeon was designed to be very scary coming in from the front, but since they didn't expect us coming in from the back, they didn't make it scary coming that way. So like all of the horrible mean stuff that Turtle Rock normally does to you, we kind of just walk around. Pokies 2 is kind of famous for like having to memorize 16 RMGs. We have to memorize 2. And we just walk by either one of them. So it's
better yet, we don't have to worry about the chain chomps, which is another bad room. Definitely another candy for your first room for the.
Yeah, I think when Steven was in the lead, he was taking that refill to kind of preserve his lead. But he obviously is skilled enough to be able to get through this dungeon without it, and so he's now I think he's now shifted into pure go fast mode. So he's gonna have to be scrambling here a little bit to catch up this.
And the nice thing here is because we entered from the back, all we have to do is once we pick up this big key, just hit that mirror. And back there on the Laser Bridge.
Yeah, so it's pretty convenient routing. We do have to get that big key slowly for Trinex to open that door. We obviously don't care about mirror shield or anything in here. So it's just go into the middle, get this key, and then go back to the front. The strategy in this peg room does change a little bit because the pegs are in a different orientation than what we're used to. So Ace switched basically what you can do is if there are different strats in here to deal with them, but what you can do is if you can just hit the switch right when you come in, and then the new room becomes normal, and you can do whatever you do in here normally. We're moving on to the Trinex fight. So it looks like both our runners, I assume, we're doing this backdoor strat here. Just a nice, easy, quick way to kill a Trinex. We're trying to completely beat the cycle here. Looks like Ace is, he's still gonna get the one cycle, but not gonna completely beat. It is possible to completely beat the cycle where the fire or the ice head is dead before Trinex head retracts. Nope, gets it. Oh, it looks like he only got one spin. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that means an extra slash. 2 spins and a slash will finish him off with the tempered sword. And then you want to talk. So normally in an MG, of course, you go back to the top of the dungeon, and you can go straight to GT from here. Not going to happen that way here. So you want to talk about exactly how we're going to get over to GT.
So we never opened Turtle Rock, so we're gonna see our runners come out here, and we're gonna be stuck in the Turtle Rock head here. So we're gonna save and quit, and we're going to clip into Ganon's tower. The funny thing is, even if we weren't stuck in that head, that cutscene is long enough that this would still be faster to do, to go ahead and save and quit and go into GT that way. So it's kind of fun. Again, we beat all the crystals dungeons simply because this category is, by rule, we said we have to beat all the dungeons. So we go ahead, collect all the crystals, and we just say, "Oh, that's nice. We're not going to use them for what they're intended for." We just clip into GT, and we could have done this at any point. Again, like Ganon's tower can be done at any point too. It's just that it conveniently routes in here because we want to end up on the pyramid. Ganon's tower puts us on top of the pyramid. We can use that to go do the last dungeon, which is Aga Tower, and then we can go kill Ganon. So it just conveniently routes in at the end of the game, which is nice because Ganon's Tower is kind of like a nice end cap to kind of any run. It's just a segment of just hard rooms, difficult to execute rooms. Yeah, so kind of what I was confirming before, Steven has now went from safety mode to go as fast as possible mode. He's skipping the old man refill here. It is a little bit faster. You skip all the refill time. Generally, most players will. There is a damage boost strat in floor 2. If you do skip the refill, you tend to do a safe strat in there. So skipping the refill, as long as you do the safe strat, is only like 3 or 4 seconds, but it is a chunk of time. It is going to make the dungeon a little bit more dangerous. The only nice thing is we are going to do Aga Tower, so we'll get a refill before Ganon, so you don't have to worry about preserving hearts for Ganon.
Yeah, and we are really, really close as we enter Ganon's tower, and this is, at the point where we're going to get to that RNG heavy part of the game with Aga 2, Aga 1, and of course Ganon himself. This could come down to a lot of RNG towards the end of it. It's kind of a shame that's going to could be the difference maker, but
yeah, it's
that close.
It's going to come down to RNG and the fact that Steven unfortunately had that fairly major soft lock. I mean, Ace has been having a decent run. Having a little trouble in splits. I'm not sure if he's a second ahead or second behind or a minute. I think he's a minute behind. But like he hasn't had any major mistakes. He's gone through. I mean, that's so much of this dungeon. Or not this dungeon. Excuse me. This category is just don't make a 2-minute mistake. Just get through the game, even if you're losing time in every split. As long as you can get through it, you're gonna have a decent chance. And like everyone who joined this tournament, fully aware of all of the variants and everything in this. Like we had the NMG tournament like 2 years ago. It was actually pre my time, but in that one, pretty much everyone knew like who was going to win each match. There's still deaths and everything in that segment, but this one there's definitely a little bit more variance, and we're kind of leaning into that with the tournament format. It's only going to be we're only doing like best of 1, so there's going to be upsets. Not the best player is not going to win every matchup, and everyone knew that coming into this, especially with the RNG and all the problems. So, but it does make for some exciting watching.
Yeah, and of course those silvers showing off again on the ice Armos fight, so it's gonna take even a little bit longer to get through this.
Yeah, it's not too much of the silver strats.
It's a small difference, but when you're this close. Yeah, when you're this close, it shows up more.
Well, again, like we have to remember, Ace does have the big time difference is it looks really close. Ace is ahead by a solid, at least 40 seconds here.
Yeah, that's a good point because that Ganon fight is coming up, and even these little things like here in the next room, just that much faster with silvers. But yeah, the big time difference is going to be the Ganon fight itself.
Yeah, so Ace actually has a fairly comfortable lead at this point, even though he's only ahead by about 2 rooms.
Yeah, gotta get ahead, getting over towards the gauntlet after this room. And those cannonballs.
This match is pretty much going to determine who moves on from this excuse me, from this bracket. I believe the other person in their bracket is Zero Rush, who's a very top player. He already played. Yeah, he already played Steven. Has not played Ace yet. But again, like Zero is he's got a 110. He's very good at this game. That would be a very major upset if Ace pulls it off against him. So this is more or less determining who is going to go on to the next round. There are going to be a couple wildcard slots. So if Steven unfortunately does lose this one, because he is a 2 seed in this, he will be in a pretty good position to be able to pick up one of those wildcards potentially.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the fourth man of the group did drop from the tournament. So we do, if you did have a forfeit, we do have one group of 3. You can just do another like run and just submit that time. Basically, you're doing a race by yourself. So you can try to improve your average time. So if Steven's not able to pull this one out, he'll definitely be looking to do that and hopefully snag one of those wildcard spots. But this is definitely in the RMG ballpark.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, every blue ball is 6 seconds. Every third blue ball is an additional 6 seconds. The Ganon warps, like you don't even think about until you start really pushing really good times at MG. You don't even think about Ganon warps as being a major like time loss. But like in this category, it's very apparent because like they're right back to back with the Aga blue balls. So it's just 2 segments right on top of each other that you just lose a bunch of time just from pure RNG that you can't do anything about.
And both runners doing a very nice job as they go through these segments here in Ganon's Tower. Steven a little low on magic, so he's going to grab that extra pot to get through this. I'm going to have to grab the full magic refill here to do the second torches. Going to grab that heart as well. And interesting that he's going to using the lamp here instead of
that's
fire. Like you pick up that full magic refill. You're going to get a magic refill from the Aga 1 fight. So it's kind of surprising.
I haven't really seen anyone do. He might be. So there are fire rod threats that are optimal in Aga Tower. As long as you don't miss a fire rod shot, you'll have enough for all of it. It does. Oh, he's going for it.
Oh baby!
Nope.
Doesn't quite get it.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, Steven. Definitely a good hover. Steven's played a lot of just the regular any percent RMG category, which does require the Moldorm hover at. Oh, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Moldorm.
This point, trying to pull out all the stops, and unfortunately, it didn't always quite work out.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if he decides to cut his losses here. Yeah, he's going to be going for the Moldorm kill here.
Meanwhile, AceZer0 finishing up Aga 2, and normally you just take over again, hop onto the hole, but that's not quite what we do in this case, because like we said, all dungeons means all dungeons, so we do still have to do Aga 1.
Steven does have the hope of Ace pulling off the old oops, I went into the Ganon hole, again happened. Has happened to everyone. Just you kind of forget, you get a little excited, and you hop in the hole. Okay, he has successfully managed to not do it. There is actually a like I've seen people do it on accident, which is just from forgetting. Which, as long as it's not killing the run, is usually kind of funny. There is actually a new strat. You can actually walk straight down and get a few pixels off the hole to do a quick warp there, which is the optimal thing. And because you have to get fairly close to the hole to not get shocked by the little Aga gate on the other side. I have also seen people, and I have fallen into the Ganon hole trying to get that quick warp. So
nice.
But I mean, this is still like in the ballpark of RNG. It's definitely opened up a lot. But if Steven pulls like a 0 and Ace pulls like a 7 or an 8 and gets a bunch of warps. But he does have the silvers too, so this is a pretty commanding lead at this point, unfortunately.
Okay, Steven also managing to remember not to fall into the hole, so a good thing.
Yeah, the strat I said where we walk down, like it's mostly the top players going because it's a frame saver type of thing. and of course the downside to it is you lose a massive amount of time because you have to go down, go up to and just run up to Aga normally, and it kills any run if you make that mistake just from holding down for a little too long.
But of course, doing Aga Tower this late, I mean, you're gonna want to do it because it's here, because you're flown right there. Then you go straight into Ganon when you're done, and with this equipment, it's just that much faster. Having that tempered sword, having access to a fire rod, access in Ace's case, you have access to the silver arrow. Just that much faster trying to do it in the normal spot.
Yeah, and there's actually a bunch of different, depending on your equipment. The fire rod is actually the fastest. Ace saving the run by doing the hook shot, the hook speed off the stairs. He knows that I would have yelled at him very loudly if he didn't do that. So.
Well, okay, we'll save that bit of yelling.
Yeah, it was very good. But yeah, you can actually go through Aga Tower for a whole bunch of different things. You can see Steven here choosing to use the boomerang. There's a bunch of pros and cons. I'm not gonna get it. Like we've looked at this segment a bunch, just different ways of doing it. It is a very difficult segment to like sit down in time and figure out what is optimal. For a bunch of reasons. Yeah, and Steven is just having. I think this is frustration sitting at this point. Unfortunately, he missed the middle guard with the boomerang. Boomerang is actually one of the faster options as long as you don't need hookshot for Ganon. A lot of players prefer. One of the benefits to using the hookshot is you can use it on Ganon to get some iframes, making the getting the 1-on-1s a little bit easier. So, like, optimally, you would either go be on Fire Rod, or if you have the silver arrows, it's actually optimal to stay on silvers the entire time, because silvers are the first thing you want in the Ganon fight. But it's like everything in Aga Tower is like within a second of each other, and like the Fire Rod strats even like are optimal. You actually don't even get the second in. It saves like a second. You don't even see that in Aga Tower. You actually see it in the Ganon fight because you save the menu. So it's really difficult segment to time. There's a bunch of like considerations. Even simple things like just magic refill time completely changes the timing. So it's one of those segments, and like I said, it's not going to kill you. You just kind of get through it. I didn't see how many blue balls Ace had. It cannot be a lot because he is already done.
Yeah, I saw at least one. It certainly wasn't 0, but yeah, he's listening to the text, just waiting. Can you please shut up so I can jump down the hole? While Steven starting his Aga 1 fight.
Yeah, there's nothing to do in this text besides either stew about how many blue balls you got or get nervous that you got 0, and then you're really hoping Ganon doesn't then give you like 20 more.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, the other ironic thing about this whole segment is, of course, Aga is taking Zelda and putting her and kidnapping her right after you saved her. So always a little bit of a fun. Because the way we order these dungeons, that storyline gets flipped a little bit.
Yeah, the story doesn't change even though we've done everything out of order. It's just it's kind of breaking the illusion a little.
All right, Ace, you're already in the 3rd stage of the Ganon fight. Yeah, I just feel like this run for Ace has just been, play within my means and my abilities. Don't take any big risks, and hopefully just get a nice solid rundown. And it's paying off for him.
I'm looking at Split. He did have that all those horrible things that happened to him in Skullwoods. That was his major time. He was slightly ahead before that, and then after that second he was like plus 130. He's now down to only plus 40 over his PB. So he only had that one disaster. We kind of lovingly refer to this category.
Skullwoods was definitely a thing for him. So yeah.
People refer to this category lovingly as all disasters, and we always say the PB. The way you PB, we don't even say don't have no disaster, just have one disaster. He kind of had 2 disasters in that split, and they're just in the same split. So but he had a very good run. Like you said, he had that one problem in Skullwoods that lost him the bulk of his time, and then he's been saving time ever since then. So he does finish. Let me get AceZer0 up to get the official time here. He finished with a 1:17.44, which is only about 30 seconds over his PB. And again, because of that massive time loss he took, that's a very solid run from him.
Meantime, Scribo already in phase 3 again, so we're gonna get to see a nice silver over here. does get that shot off a little bit late. We do see the fire bats. It's always a little annoying when that happens. Again, Warp's not being kind here.
Yeah, Steven did have quite the run. Unfortunately, Gannon is just kind of rubbing salt into the wounds at this point.
Does get the torch glitch, the all-important.
Yeah, I'm seeing if we can get a Ace in here. Okay, he's right in here. Or he will be in a second. And we're now joined by Ace at GG. Nice run.
GG's.
Thanks. Yeah, that went better than I expected. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking. You know, like I was sitting here looking at your split. I was like, you had a really clean run. I couldn't really remember anything that went bad. I was surprised you were behind by a minute. I was like, oh right, Skull Woods. Yeah. That.
Yeah.
that was your one disaster. But you were slightly ahead going into Skull Woods, and then like you saved another 40 seconds after Skull Woods. So again, just that one. If you didn't have that one disaster, this would have been actually a fairly big PB for you. So it was very nicely done.
Yeah, thanks. That's been the last couple PBs have been exactly the same way. One big disaster somewhere prevents me from PBing by too much.
It will literally be that way the entire time. People have gotten some quite good PBs in this game that still have one disaster. So
yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. Just Steven, kind of just gonna pong his way into the Triforce room. GG to Steven. He does finish with, it looks like a 120.30. A nice run by him as well. Again, he had 2 disasters.
Yep.
Which is pretty much it. So were you watching the restream? Were you aware of what happened on the other side, or were you just kind of keeping it?
I was trying not to watch it very much to get too distracted, but I headed up without the audio on. I kind of glanced over here and there. I saw the TR issue. What was the other part where he had trouble?
It was the TR issue twice. I don't know if you saw both. But he did it twice.
He also had a little bit of trouble with the getting out of the Meyer clip and then had a save quit, but that I don't think is really as big as a.
I think the Meyer clip was he just decided to cut his losses quickly because he still had a decent lead at that point. Although like you were catching. It's always hard to calm these silvers versus no silvers races, because you go into a big hole because you get the silvers, but you have like 40-second credit. So I was trying to, but it looked like you were catching up for a while actually, even before that. We're also now joined by Steven at GG.
G.
G.
G will suffice.
Yeah, one singular. So I saw you typing. Did you just forget what button you're not supposed to push in TR?
Did I forget what button? What
button you're not supposed to push? Because I saw you said like down and not up in the chat. The climb.
Yeah. I just twice.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. I just twice.
Yeah.
Just forgot.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely unfortunate. The other thing is like I know
I've had input yips for like the past 2 weeks. I will get to a bomb clip and I'll throw the bomb and dash into it, and my brain will go, "Is it up left or is it up right? Decide now!" And I choose wrong.
Oh, that's the worst. That is the worst.
Yeah. We were talking about that. Where again, it's just memorizing these unintuitive inputs, and like it literally happens to everyone. You're just like, wait, what button am I supposed to push here again? And you just forget, and bad things happen.
Yeah.
Then,
so is that what happened to the Meyer escape clip? Did you?
No, the Meyer one. I don't know. I have no clue. I swear I was on the right pixel because I have a very clear visual cue. But my problem there is I forgot to go. When I missed it once, I should have done my bonk setup and done it the old way.
Yeah, it could have been with the Meyer.
And I spazzed and.
Like sometimes you just release down right a little too early, especially if you're trying to go. Like, you were going for the Brahmin exit, right?
Yeah, I was going for the Brahmin.
Yeah. So on that one, it's like you release it and then you gotta like start mashing A. Like especially since you're doing something right after, you might have just not been holding down right quite long enough. Like that happens to me all the time too, where I go like I was on the right place, I popped out, and you just can't quite figure it out. So that might have been, and then I assume you just decided to cut your losses after that point because you saw you were still ahead. But
yeah, at that point I'd done the same what I thought was the same thing 3 times in a row, and it didn't work, and I didn't think that doing it over and over was beneficial.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then like I was pretty sure you're going to get silvers because I know you've been getting them. I guess you.
Oh, I've not done a run with them.
That's right. You did drop them a while ago. So we had.
Yeah, we had.
Literally all of Twitch died.
I know.
Right when Pod was starting.
So we missed the silvers, right?
We missed
silvers. Like we didn't come back until both of you were halfway through Pod. And like, so I was squinting at your arrow, like little arrows on the top. It was like, all right, well, Ace got the zero. I was like, wait, Steven doesn't have this. I thought you were still getting them for some reason. I don't know why.
I've never done a run with them.
You have definitely.
I've started runs intending to get them, but I've never actually done a run, start to finish with silvers.
Oh, all right. This is just me not paying attention, I guess. So
I mean, I made the tutorial, so it's a good assumption that I would have done it at least once. But
yeah, there you go.
I mean, you also, like sent me. So he sends me the first tutorial, and I'm like, "Did you watch this at all?" He's like, "No, what?" I'm like, "Just go look at it." And he's like, "What am I looking for?" He had the video, and he kept pausing the video to talk. He sent me this entire tutorial where he talked over it, and the entire thing was like on one screen the entire time. And he's just like, I'm gonna make it.
It wasn't paused. I changed scenes so that I had a good scene of a particular pixel.
I just like when you said, like, what am I looking for? I'm like, just look at it. Look at it. Like, did you watch any of this back? He's like, why? I'm like, look at it.
No, I didn't watch it. I was there when it was made. I know it was perfect.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, he even sent it to me too. He's like, I got it in one shot. It was pretty good. And I'm like, was it? So,
wow.
Yeah, we're just air over dirty business right here.
It's probably good that you guys missed part of that because that's probably the next worst thing in the run for me. Apart from
just say you did it. Just did it perfectly.
Yeah, no,
I crushed it.
No, I did the silvers right. It was. I don't know if the stream was back up in time, but my Kiki skip, I actually almost died and I ran out of bombs. I took 3 attempts to make it through, and I was getting really nervous.
3-bomb Kiki skip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think you were both actually in Pod by the time we came back, so we missed that too.
Yeah.
I had to fight both green guards to do DMA. It took me 3 bombs to do Kiki skip. I had the 30 pause hammer jump. I missed OK Boomer, which really I thought I was going to forfeit right then and there.
Oh, I actually forgot what to do in that room. Like, I hammered the first peg and I just kept walking, and I paused and took like half a second staring at my menu like, what am I supposed to do? Oh yeah, hit the other peg, and then menu to boomerang. I did it totally wrong.
I tried to do LSD blind and hit the select button too early.
Jesus.
Well, that's your own fault. We're trying to show off.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, all you saw was a save and quit menu.
Yeah. At least the
Vidi was an adventure.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But by the way, I do have to ask you about Vidi.
Okay.
You did Vidi normally, right? So is it still Scrivo safety Vidi?
Yes.
You haven't done it as Steven, so it's officially you're leaving it. Okay, I was just wondering. I didn't know what to call it.
I've done it as Steven. I did it last week.
You did do it, but Steven didn't invent it, so I don't know. I think we still got to call it the Scrivo safety Vidi.
It's Scrivo safety. I mean, the dead corpse of Scrivo can have that one.
But yeah, you did. You somehow managed to dodge the eyeball. Like the eyeball would have killed you, and then like I thought you were gonna be the luckiest boy on the planet with that lightning just forking right around you, and it did hit you, but you had the extra half heart.
It did.
Yeah, so it came close to just. It would have been even better if it somehow just forked right around you perfectly. Honestly.
Yeah, it was. That was a very spectacular run.
But yeah.
Now I'm out.
No, you're not out. You're not out.
Yeah, I am. I've 2 losses.
Wild
Wild
cards.
card spot, and you got at least one really good time, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean
Your time
you're.
against Zero Rush was better than my 117 here.
Yeah, I mean, don't do the turn
mean,
rock
that's a
stuff
lot.
again, and this should easily be your drop. So you should be in. I mean, as a 2 seed who got upset, you should be in a fairly good position to get one of the wild cards. I would say.
I'll do a makeup.
Yeah, and we did mention that you're the third member of your group, unfortunately, or the fourth member of your group, unfortunately, had to drop for some reasons. So, yeah, you so both of you can do an additional run. But yeah, I think I'm pretty sure this clinches it for you, Ace, with the drop in your group. So GG to you on that.
Congratulations.
I didn't expect to make it without being the wild card. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's what
You
I was
still-
shooting for. And
You still gotta do the battle of zeros with
Yeah.
their names spelled with
If-
0.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
You can win. I am.
I don't think
I
so.
will say, I just would like to point out, I beat Josh.
Yeah, we know.
by a whole 5 minutes even.
Yeah, 5 minutes better than Josh RTA. I mean, really, that should put me in the brackets.
Yeah, well, he's also running right now. I'm probably, yeah, it does look like that he has gotten some
Improvements.
some face saving. He's put up a little bit of a face saver, so
As long as none of his splits are 13 minutes.
yeah, it would probably help.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, hopefully that y'all like seeing the Hair to Swamp clip, the backup, since I missed the first one, and I'm really bad at setting it up again without the pot there.
I saw Fox say nice backup, and I completely missed what you did. Actually,
I don't know like how much slower or faster or whatever it is, but it's a totally different setup where like I stand in a different spot to drop the bomb, and I walk into the corner, and if you move 1 pixel left and dash, it puts you into the wall in a place where you do 1 sword buffer left and then 2 up, and it puts you in the same spot.
I'll have to look at that. That sounds interesting.
It's it was when I first started learning glitch stuff. I saw ACMLM's any percent RMG run, and he does it in there, and I was just like, that looks cool. I'm gonna learn that by just doing what he does. So it works.
Yep. All right. Well, GG's to both of you. It was quite a
Thanks.
exciting run to watch. Yeah, I said it. It's unfortunate the way it happened, but like everyone who came into this tournament knew what this category was. This was definitely going to be part of it. Some upsets like this because of just pushing a button at the wrong time. But yeah, GG, the exciting race. And then Steven, you're done except for your makeup race now, and then Ace, you still have to face your doppelganger of Zero Rush.
Yep.
We might want to put that on restream just so we can make a bunch of Zero or Hero jokes references the entire time.
Yeah. Sounds like
If you watch this back, I apologize. I apologize for calling you Acer the entire time. I don't know why. You get so many weird letters in capitalization. I throw an extra. My brain throws an R in there for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I just never knew how to correct you in chat before when you said that, but I've noticed.
I do that, yeah.
Or maybe he was just missing the Z and the E.
I've got a very bad brain, so.
Well, you're not the only person that's done it either, so maybe it's just more confusing than it seemed to me when I made this name.
Yeah, probably.
I guess I need to rebrand too.
Yeah, I think that's it for now. If guess we're about to sign.
All set. GG's
yeah, I think we're rolling.
okay. GG's to AceZer0 and Steven. It's
GG's
always fun
boys.
to watch these. And many thanks to Apathy Duck and Tracy M for doing wonderful commentary tonight. Always a pleasure to listen to great commentary and to just get more familiar with this category.
Yeah,
And-
I definitely need to get a little more familiar with this category, but certainly it was a lot of fun and I'm so glad you guys are letting me get my feet wet on the
Bless you.
non-randomizer Zelda side things. So.
God damn it.
At least it was a virtual sneeze. None of us got.
Yeah, we're
We're trying to put on a professional professional organization here. And
Well, a sneeze is better than something else that someone has done in the past, and I'm not going to name anything.
goddamn admin just sneezing into his mic on restream.
I turned away. I covered my mouth.
Covered it. You know. Oh, I'm not even gonna try to explain it to you.
Say goodnight, Duck.
Good night, Duck.
Okay, thanks everyone for joining us, and there should be some matches coming up this week as well. I'm not sure about the I think Friday might be the next one, but I'm not sure.
I've talked to. We kind of put an announcement out like, hey guys, you gotta put all your matches up, and so we've gotten a flood of signups recently. I talked to Trez right before I got on, and I think we might have one earlier than that. We're looking at it. We're looking at now. So, but the schedule. Keep an eye on the schedule.
Yes.
There's gonna be a lot of matches coming online real soon. There's definitely gonna be a higher density in this back half of groups on the restreams. So
yeah, I'm hoping I'll be available to do some more restreams for you as well. So
yeah.
Okay. So thanks everyone for joining us. Have a good night, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.
Rolling out.
Hold out.